Welcome to Richplanet TV. I'm Richard D. Hall and I'm joined again by Neil Saunders. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you.
Now, last week we spoke about psychotronic devices, which are small implants put in people's minds, and then we finished by talking about how radio waves or microwaves can also be used to influence people and even be used as weapons in conflict. And one method that people claim is used to control people's minds is via music.
Yeah.
Now, just before today's show is going to be about music and its effect on society, but before we do that, you've almost completed a book, Neil. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a book about mind control, and it's going to chart sort of the origins, the architects, the intentions of mind control projects like MK Ultra, how it connects to Tavistock, the different doctors involved, the different techniques. Then psychotronic weaponry, the different techniques that are involved in that, and then basically it's going to move on to mass mind control and how we're all affected by things like advertising, by things like music, by genres, by sort of attaching ourselves to broader spectrums. Then I'm going to show how the news media and this all helps to paint a perception of the world, and then hopefully show how all these things are actually interconnected, things like music, advertising, news and military-industrial complex.
Right. Perception management, you might call it.
Oh, absolutely, perception management, yeah.
Now, have you got a title for the book yet?
I think it's going to be called Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own.
Okay, all right. Now, I spoke to Gemma King, an academic at Aberystwyth University, about her theories about mind control and how music is perhaps not the free-thinking thing that we think. It's actually orchestrated by a cabal or an elite. Now, I got a mixed reaction to that show. I got some very positive emails saying, you know, thank you for exposing this. My child listens to Lady Gaga, Rihanna, blah, blah, blah. I always thought there was something funny about it, and now you've spelled it out. I got other emails saying, what a load of rubbish. Music industry's always been full of strange, you know, music which people use to rebel against their parents, and that's all it is. You're making a mountain out of a molehill type comment.
Well, we'll see.
So, where do you stand on it then?
Well, the thing about music, the entertainment industry is several things. For a start, when we're not at work, this is your leisure time. So whatever, if we can dictate actions and beliefs through your leisure as well as your work time, well then you're completely controlled. The other thing that music does is it creates role models, it creates heroes, it creates trends and genres and groups that we can all attach ourselves and become involved in. Aside from that, music can actually physiologically affect people, and you know, a very, very basic way that everyone's heard is when you've heard your favourite song and you go, oh, brilliant, and suddenly you feel like you've got this rush of energy. Like a minor chord will invoke sad feelings.
There's no
doubt. A major
doubt.
chord will invoke positive feelings.
The music, somehow, it connects to something that nothing else can. It's, you see people in a pub and they're enjoying a song and they'll be singing it and they don't even know the words.
It has a hypnotic effect,
and
exactly.
They don't know the words, but they're singing it because they're just so enjoying that song.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's connecting to something really primeval, I think, music.
Yeah.
It's getting right inside the heart of you.
Completely, and that's a very good point, that sometimes you'll be able to sing things, but if you're asked to write down the lyrics, you won't, because it's affecting you on a subconscious level. David Huron, he wrote in Music Quarterly in 1989, he was talking about jingles. Now, if you think about, everyone's got a jingle that just sticks in your head. They're designed to do that. It's called mnemonic jingles, and basically the first one was in the 50s, it was Pepsodent toothpaste, but what he says is it might play many different and complementary roles in advertising, such as attracting attention, implicitly or explicitly carrying the message, creating emotional states, or acting as a mnemonic cue. In practical terms, classical conditioning implies that pairing a product with a liked piece of music should produce an association between the two, and therefore a liking of the product. And now, obviously, this doesn't always work, but some musical advertising campaigns are so powerful that we now don't think of them as as that piece of music. We think of them as the Hamlet Sicar music, or the Hovies bread music, or the Levi's ad music, or whatever. And one way of showing this is that every single Levi advert in the world is produced a number one single.
Yeah.
Okay, so it obviously got some sort of effect on it. The reason that you'll play music when you're on a call centre, for example, it's like, in a minute you'll be da-da-da-da-da-da. That's to trick your brain into not noticing how long you've been on the phone for. Music can alter your perception of time. How many times have you been to a concert or whatever and you've gone, oh, is that it? Oh, actually, they've been on for 2 hours. Wow, but it was just such a fun time that I completely forgot about it. Lullabies will relax you. Sea shanties will focus you into work.
Yeah.
The funeral march would be a completely inappropriate thing to play at someone's wedding because, as I say, there are sociological learn responses to
I had a
things.
friend who, always in the middle of July, used to open all his windows and play Here It Is, Merry Christmas, just to annoy the neighbours.
Good. Well, I mean, anybody that's still, this is a bit thin. Apocalypse Now, the bit where the napalm the forest and the play Rise of the Valkyries, it's to stir up the participants and it's to strike fear into the enemy. This is why boxers come out to a theme tune to really pump themselves up and psych themselves up. And this epic grand music is an expression of me. So if you're going to fight me, you're not fighting me. You're fighting this huge epic thing, basically.
Right. I mean, when the Richplanet TV theme tune comes on, in certain households, one partner will attack the other.
Fair enough.
I have been told that it causes problems.
It also works in other.
So, but what I'm saying is, it's the theme tune that triggers it.
Yeah.
There'll be one of the partner that likes the show, and another one can't stand it. That tune comes on, and it triggers that negative or positive reaction, or it might be the. For example, I'll give you an example. When I was 10, my family moved house, and it was a very upsetting, traumatic time for me. And there's a few songs which were Kate Bush song actually that I listen to that now, and it really makes me fill up because it reminds me of that time.
Yeah, or there was a song that I used to listen to with this girlfriend, or my father used to like this song, or we played this at somebody's funeral, anything like that. Of course it does. It also affects you in ways that you possibly don't realise. In shopping, have you ever wondered why do they play music in shopping centres? Yeah. It's to fill your brain. Like James Calaris is basically he's a professor at the University of Cincinnati. He's concerned with marketing. Music is used. Your brain has got like a finite bandwidth. So there's this much information can go into your brain. If I've filled this much of it with music, you've only got this much that's already been dazzled by all the colours and stuff like that. It impairs your critical analysis. Try doing a load of maths problems while singing that terrible Chumbawamba song or whatever, or any chant, anything like that. Have you ever noticed that drive time DJs, they can speed up or slow down traffic by the tempo of the song that they play? You can, like a lullaby, the reason a lullaby works is because it drops you to an alpha state brainwave in a similar way to television by resonating with your natural heartbeat. Now, even William Sargent was Tavistock sponsored at St Thomas's Hospital in London, MK Ultra doctor that was sharing notes with Ewan Cameron in Canada. He was saying the same thing, that one of the easiest ways, he was actually looking at it in sort of tribal and religious scenarios, voodoo rituals or whatever. If you hit people with overstimulation by a series of different rhythms, you can affect them. And here's one thing, next time that you go on this, I don't know, if you see the God TV or the 700 Club or whatever, every evangelical Christian organisation ever where they have like pastor collection plate, they'll keep you on your feet and they'll make you sing. Because when you're singing, you go into a trance because it's learned behaviour.
Yeah, hymns in a church where they're just, as you say, they put you into this frame of mind where you just more readily accept certain information or indoctrination.
Of course, because it's for two reasons. Because A, you've got that less space in your brain for critical analysis, but also you're concentrating on something that drops you into a repetitive thing like this. So. I mean, the other big one that most people will actually be aware of is films. watch a film with the incidental music taken out, and it's a completely different scenario. If we think about the music in Psycho or the music in Jaws, what this is called a non-linear sound, and how this works is it represents, or into your subconscious brain, it either evokes the idea of a dying animal, like ree, ree, ree on the Psycho thing,
right,
or a growling animal, like on the Jaws theme. And the clever thing about the Jaws theme as well is, exactly, and the gap in between the two notes adds tension, because you're like, in your subconscious, you're like, I've heard something dangerous. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And so this is how they work.
I remember that as a child, queuing up to go and see Jaws. I mean, that music was something else. The Jaws music.
Yeah, I mean, it just basically shows you how very, very powerful all of these things can actually be.
Yeah. Now, just to get back to the music industry, Neil, I'm coming to the sort of view that the icons of music, the big figures, and I'll just name some: McCartney, Lennon, Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, who else? What? Lady Gaga of the modern lot.
Nicki Minaj, Beyonce.
That they're possibly possessions or being manipulated somehow.
Yeah, well, of course they are. I mean, one of the things that people don't realise, and this is without getting into the Illuminati stuff, let's take Time Warner, for example. Time Warner, which puts out a lot of Interscope and very numerous other
Madonna is the other one I was trying to search for. Yeah.
These companies are not just owned by, they're not just music companies, they've got connections to military industrial complex, they've got connections to Lockheed Martin, they've got connections to these other things, and a famous example of this was Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur on his first album, which was one of the highest selling, he was the biggest rap artist of the time, he came up with a line that says, we've got money for wars, but we can't feed the poor. Because of this, because his parent company of his record label was owned by a military industrial complex, that's affecting our shareholders, that's affecting our share prices. So they refused to release his second album for 5 years. That's how powerful. You go off message, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, you're dead. This is it. Look at the artists that are actually making a positive contribution and see where they are now. Where's Jimi Hendrix? Where is Pete Tosh? Where is Bob Marley?
Yeah.
Where are all these people that are actually making positive inroads into things? Because they're not on script, they're gone. The thing that I sort of seem to notice was that when you get a genre, a new genre, an emerging genre that could divert attention and stuff like that, it's homogenized and it goes through a 3-stage process.
Okay, so a new kind of brand or style of music comes along. Punk would be a good example.
Jazz, hip hop, Bill Haley.
That young people are attracted to, and the
garage, dubstep, any of these, you'll see the same 3 stages.
All right, so you say it somehow it gets subverted. In other words,
yeah.
So tell us those 3 stages.
Well, the first thing that we do is what I call it cautionary curiosity commodity. Okay, first off, we're told that this is detrimental to the kids. Who will save us from the kids? This is teaching them this. The Sex Pistols are vomiting on stage. If you go to a garage show, you will almost certainly be killed. All of this, and it's the shock in the media to basically say this is the most evil thing that we've come across. Keep your kids away from this. Okay, and it's an immediate dismissal of it. Without actually examining the facts. It did the same thing with Public Enemy, saying these are anti-white. They're not anti-white, they're pro-equality, and there's a difference. So we've got that, and we're talking about, and this can be seen like this first Sex Pistols tour was banned in all but 3 venues, okay, because of interference from MPs. When hip-hop was becoming big in America, Dan Quayle and a woman called C. Dolores Tucker were causing huge amounts, and Tipper Gore's, Al Gore's wife, also causing massive amounts of problem, because this is the big ill in society. Second stage is called curiosity, and it's basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the mickey out of it. Okay, so we're going to have Bill Cosby doing a rap on the Cosby Show. We're going to have Dick Emery dressed up with a mohawk and go, oh, look at this, look at the silly way that these punk rockers dress.
Right.
Softens it off, makes it something. Sorry, if we can laugh at it, we're not scared of it anymore.
Right.
The third stage is that we absorb it. We soften it off. We get other artists that are not quite the same, but they're discernibly similar. Right. And then all of a sudden you've got these fine bands that's all right. We can have punk bands like like this, because essentially they're not really saying anything. And what you'll get then is we've got it as a commodity, a homogenised commodity. So when you've got punk bands selling Converse trainers or wearing Converse trainers, which is owned by Nike, which runs it's basically slave labour all over the world. Or when you've got rap artists who essentially have come from a ghetto or, you know, dragged themselves out of the urban environment, boasting about the diamonds that they're wearing, with no concept of the fact that the De Beers diamond company is a Freemasonic or an organisation that has destroyed Africa. We're missing the point of the initial genre, if you see what I mean. And so it has been subverted and moved away, and it's no longer a problem.
So where do you stand on the heavily publicised artists of today, the ones that the Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Jay-Z, that Gemma King spoke about, are they completely manufactured from day one, or where do you,
it's not that they're completely manufactured, it's basically...
I got into a pub or a nightclub and Rihanna comes on, and frankly I just find it poisonous. I want to walk out. It's so... there's something not right with it, in my opinion.
Well, the thing
and that's not because I'm just some old 40-odd-year-old guy, fuddy-duddy. I really think there's something not right with that music. It's just poison to the mind or soul, in my opinion.
It comes to this concept of conspicuous consumption, okay, because basically it's mindless, a lot of the music today. And again, this is very difficult to talk about this without sounding like, in my day, this was all... you know, I remember when we had proper tunes that you could whistle. They're safe.
But these days it would be... I remember when there was proper bands like Sham 69, Harry.
Yeah.
So I would just be considered, well, you're just an old git, Richard. That's why you don't like Rihanna. You're not with it, man.
One of the things that a lot of people say is this music is rubbish. Now, no, it's not rubbish. It's incredibly cleverly designed. It's designed to stick in your brain.
It's clever rubbish.
It's clever rubbish, yeah. Okay, it's lowest common denominator, but it's been designed specifically to entrance you in. And the thing is, like, you know what I was saying about the fact that you've got to have that initial... initially, people are scared of it. Nowadays, we're so savvy that you have to have that, otherwise kids won't accept it. So when Rihanna first came out, you know, she's doing things that are a bit sexy and stuff. Nicki Minaj is doing this and whatnot. And that's fine, because unless our parents hate it, we don't like it. Yeah. But that's a marketing strategy.
Yeah, the parents have to hate it, otherwise it's not that good.
And I'll tell you, the thing is, right, okay, people say, oh no, you're going too far. People forget, why did George Michael fall off the face of the earth? Why did the Dixie Chicks fall off the face of the earth? Do you want to know why? Because they started talking about 9/11.
Why did Michael Jackson literally fall off the face of the earth?
Why did Michael Jackson fall off the face of the earth?
Well, ask you about that.
Why did Jim Tosh die? Why did Tupac Shakur die? Why did Jimi Hendrix die? Why did Bob Marley die?
John
Lennon. All of these people that can utilise and channel youth energy. And then on the other side, you've got people like Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, and various other people, no doubt, that are there to, according to the FBI themselves, to move people away from politicisation.
Yeah. Another one was Sinead O'Connor. Was she quite political at some point?
She tore up a picture of the Pope when she was talking about sexual abuse through the Catholic Church and inferring to mind control practices. And that's it. That's her career done.
Right.
Basically, this is the thing. I mean, this is not a new thing. Even in the 60s, basically, when COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program, was coming out. This is a leaked document from 1970. It was leaked in 76, but basically it's about how to deal with the hippies.
Hold it there, Neil, because we're going to go for a break, and you can read that out after this.